Our headline today, and this is going to be a very important episode because a lot of people ask, is the American dream alive? What is the American dream? How can I live the American dream? I want to be a business owner. How does the American dream even apply? What are the keys to success? So we're going to unpack the keys to living the American dream in 2023. What does it take to live the American dream? Is it alive? On how to live the American dream in 2023. Now, there's a recent GoDaddy survey, and they ask about 1,000 small business owners, because we love small business owners, and GoDaddy, like, so many surveyors out there know, listen, if you wanted to find the American dream, why not ask a United States business owner, a small business owner, about their ideas of the American dream? So in this survey, Here's a few of the things that they talked about with the American dream according to small business owners in the U.S., and this was a recent survey. 54% said the American dream is to feel happy about your life, in your life, like you're pretty satisfied, you're excited, you're grateful, like you know where you've been and you've been on this journey, and so you're just feeling happy in life. 54% said that's really what the American dream is. 49% said it's about freedom. It's about the freedom to follow my passions, do what I want to do. Maybe maybe there's some freedom of time, maybe some freedom to travel, freedom to do things with your family. 49% said that's the American dream. 56% said that you have to achieve some sort of wealth and financial freedom if you're going to live the American dream. So that's what a good portion of people said. A smaller percentage than what was typically known as the American dream said owning a home is still a big part of the American dream. That's 45%. And 62% said they are confident that they will achieve their goals to live the American dream in their lifetime. And so that's what they said. And so it's very interesting. As you look at the American dream, going back a few decades, maybe a few hundred years ago, the American dream in, let's call it the 18th century, right as the Declaration of Independence is happening, July 4th, 1776, from putting together this Constitution, most people left Europe and came to the United States, America before it was the United States, and they came for this dream of land ownership, because in Europe, all the land had been divvied up and you couldn't really get, a lot of your own land. It was very, very difficult, very expensive to do so. And for most people, there was a small percentage of landowners, let's call them, counts, let's call them noblemen, especially in France and England and Germany and a lot of these, countries where there had been people there for thousands of years that had inhabited these, and so there was a lot of fighting that would go on, and ultimately the very wealthy, the landowners, controlled everything, and then everyone else was paying rent, and they would farm the land and get to keep some of their earnings, and then they would pay the other profits, some taxes, if you will, to the landowners. And so everybody left Europe, came over here to the U.S., and they did it because they wanted to become landowners. They wanted to have this dream of being able to farm their own land on their own terms and have this thing called freedom, which just didn't exist in most parts of the world. And that's what made this American dream, so unique. It wasn't just, the land, the location, etc. It really was that it was this new way of living, this new ideology that you could own and have your own thing, do your own thing, have some freedom, and be able to control your land and your destiny. And so a lot of people that came over here in the 1700s and the 1800s, even the early 1900s, that was the dream that they were buying into. And in the 1800s, as the U.S. expanded from the 13 colonies on the East Coast, they came over here west. Like, that's what people were excited about, getting your own land and farming it, et cetera, et cetera. At some point, this transitioned, I think, in the 20th century, in the 1900s, and really at this point, people start to think less about owning their own land, and instead, there's this industrial revolution and people working at factories, and you could work at a big business, and then you would buy your own home. Land would come with it, but it was more about the home and less about farming the land. The land and the lots were much smaller, but you could own your own home. and work at that company, that manufacturing industrial type location there in that business. You could work there for a while, get a pension, retire. And that was kind of the American dream, I think, for a lot of people. And I think as you fast forward to 2023, so we started with land. We went to being able to retire and own your own home as part of the American dream. And I think throughout all of this, there's been this recurring theme that the ultimate American dream was and is to own a business, to have your own business, the freedom to decide when you work, where you work, with whom you work, who you want to serve, et cetera, et cetera. And that's really today's American dream. Having your own business, becoming an entrepreneur, and creating a product or service that improves the world, that gives you the opportunity for what they call upward mobility, where you can become wealthy, financially independent, and have the ability to travel, run your schedule, spend time with your family, do things on your own terms. And that's really what the American dream is, I think, in 2023. So in this article, here's a quote from it. It says, American small business owners are thinking beyond revenue and sales growth when they consider what the American dream means to them. Howard said in a statement last week, today it's more about feeling a sense of belonging, freedom, happiness, and work-life balance. All very good things, et cetera, et cetera. So how do you live the American dream in 2023? And I think, again, it does come down to becoming a business owner. Again, I'll always remember, when I was in my second or third year of college at the University of Utah, when a guy came in and said, hey, if you don't have experience, you can't get a job. And that summer, I went and I knocked doors in Park City and Bountiful here in Utah, and I started this painting business. I didn't know anything about it, but that was my first taste of entrepreneurship and being a business owner. And I thought, damn, I think I'd much rather be a business owner and work 80 hours. And I was working a lot of hours. I'd rather work 80 hours a week for myself than 40 hours a week for someone else. And that was kind of what I bought into. And some people just don't do well with authority. That was me as well. So for everyone out there, for you're a business owner or you're wanting to become one. Maybe I always imagine the guy that I'm serving, my dream client is Bob. Bob is 35 years old. He's got 2 kids. He and his wife don't love their jobs that they work at. They want to build a better life for their kids. They want to move up to a better zip code. And they know the only way they can do that is to start their own business. And so they're trying to figure out what can they become an expert at, what product or service can they offer. And in today's American dream, Bob knows he has to become an expert at something and create a unique product with a competitive advantage that's better than the competition out there. And he can start it as a side hustle with his wife, and together they can build this business, eventually be able to quit their jobs, run their business, create jobs for other people. And that's always what I, imagine my dream client being, his name being Bob, of course. And so you're out there. What is the process for you to live the American dream? Well, it does start with becoming an expert. You can't begin to create a unique product or service until you understand the dynamics of a marketplace and until you can become an expert in that marketplace. And so there's so many different opportunities to do that. Tomorrow I'm going to fly out to an event in Columbus, Ohio. I don't think I've ever been to Columbus. I did get stranded from an event in Rhode Island trying to get home to Utah a couple months ago in Cleveland. So I have been to Ohio, but have not been to Columbus yet. And so going to be heading out to Columbus. This is going to be an e-commerce event where this group teaches and creates this community to teach people how to create an e-commerce business. And of course, in e-commerce, it's very much a product-based business. It's about getting inventory. That's a space that has unique opportunity. I was speaking with a client just a couple days ago, and she said, you know what? We live out in the country. In Texas here, there's a lot of cowboys, a lot of horses, et cetera. And I'm noticing there's not a lot of the products that we actually need for our country lifestyle and for horses and being a cowboy, that type of thing. And, obviously a lot of you have probably watched Yellowstone, and there's this new found momentum about that life and how beautiful it can be. And obviously it's not all fun and games. It's a very difficult life in some regards, but she identified, hey, this is a a market that's underserved, and I can create better products on Amazon for our type of people who are looking for something like that. And that's the opportunity that's out there for anybody, whether it's in e-commerce, whether it's in it's becoming an expert. So if you become an expert in marketing, then there's always going to be a place for you to start a business to do marketing. That's a recession-proof skill set to be able to bring clients and customers in the door. Technology is another, very recession-proof space that you can create a business in and serve, people with technology needs, whether if you're a great coder or engineer, and I mean software engineer, to create softwares and different online products. That's something that's always going to be in need. So in today's American dream, it's becoming an expert, creating a product or service that you can do better in a unique, different way than the competition out there, and follow this blue ocean strategy. And this is a great book. There's these guys who are recently on a podcast, and they wrote this book, I think almost 20 years ago. But it was basically the idea is don't just incrementally improve something a little bit and basically compete and commoditize whatever the product is, but actually go out there and create something truly unique, truly better in a blue ocean instead of a bloody, the sharks are all fighting over the same thing and the commodity. Once your market becomes commoditized, then it's just a race to the bottom. There's no profit margins, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's what it's all about, is creating a better product. So, for example, we had the cell phone market out there in the 2000s, and we had flip phones, and we had all these different types of phones, and there was some technology, there was some texting going on with them, and you could kind of open different websites up and URLs with these phones at the time. And then Apple and Steve Jobs came out with something way better, right? They came out with the iPhone, and the smartphone was a blue ocean strategy that absolutely obliterated the competition, because you could have all your music, you could have videos, and then all of a sudden you could do anything online that you wanted to on your cell phone. And that is the blue ocean strategy, is making something so much better that delivers so much more value than the competition out there that you're going to dominate. Another example is there's a lot of you are probably familiar with Benihana's, right? Benihana's is this Japanese steakhouse, and they throw the shrimp in your mouth, and they cook it on a grill in front of you. And Benihana's is still out there, still doing okay. Maybe it's set up as a franchise across the country, but there's this place called Teppanyaki that's not far here from our office, and it's okay, but it's not great. There's another one I've been going to for 20 years called Bonsai in southern Salt Lake, in a little suburb called Sandy. And this guy just has phenomenal food, service, show, everything on another level. And because he delivers so much value, he doesn't even market. He hasn't marketed in over a decade. And people just come in because his food, his team, everything is so good. And that's the type of opportunity that's out there in the American dream, is to create something of value, whether it's a product or a service, from an area of expertise, do it in a way that's unique and better than anyone else, and then build that credibility so that word of mouth spreads your business. And now once you have money come in, and there's a lot of people that do this, right? They start a business, or they are doing a commission job, and they start increasing their income. But then the next mistake they make is they keep their lifestyle continues to increase, and they never actually get ahead. The American dream is to increase your income. It's kind of like this. Step one, become an expert. Step two, increase your income, because you're delivering so much value. And so you increase your income from 50 to 100 to 200 to 300,000, 500,000, million. You start increasing that income, but you don't increase the lifestyle. You maybe increase it a little bit, but you try to keep it pretty level. Maybe you take an extra couple vacations a year with your family somewhere awesome. Great, but you save money not to save money so you can be like, I saved money. No, you save money to invest. And you invest it in something that earns cash, right? If I buy a stock, unless it's a dividend stock, which those don't pay out very much, then it doesn't provide income. You want to buy something that gives you income on a monthly basis and increases in value. Typically, that's real estate, or it's a business or some opportunity where it generates income and cash flow passively without too much of your time, and then it grows beyond that. If you can do that, then you're going to be in excellent shape. I'm going to talk about Michael Jordan's book, and an example of this is he bought a majority share in the Charlotte Bobcats, and I think they went back to being the Charlotte Hornets, I want to say. Does that sound right? I think so. So he bought that NBA team in the state where he was born in North Carolina for like $175 million that he put in, and the total purchase price was $275, and now he's selling it for $3 billion, and it also made him income every year. So he's making income on it, and it's increasing in value. That's the ultimate win of where you want your money to be going and expanding. You do that, my friends, you can live the American dream.